Hello?
Speaking of champions, I get to share a variety of techniques that work on all kinds of digital creation, not just layouts, but cards, calendars, posters, invitations, you name it. If it's digital, we can use it on anything, right? One of my favorite champion strategy was the combination of using brushes, and I love brushes, to make different kinds of cards. So in this video, I've plucked that lesson right out of our membership, and I'm giving it to you to show you how to use brushes to make a kind of digital watercolor resist. All right, let's have even more fun. Whew, if it can get even more fun. Next, we're going to create a watercolor resist using more painting modes. So first, I've got my card ready, right here, set up, same 4 inches by 6 inches. And then I'm going to create a new layer, and I'm probably going to use the same brush stamp. Let's see, it was Watercolor Edging 9. It doesn't have any of the brush settings that I had originally. They've all gone. I'm going to switch my mode to normal. My opacity is 100%. So I'm really starting with the same brush, but it has none of the settings originally. So we're starting from base here. And then we're going to create a watercolor background again, but in different steps. So to create this resist, first we're going to stamp with a color. I'm going to choose this dark pink because honestly, this is one of my favorite colors. So let's use a different brush. Let's use watercolor, a full one. That'll work. Watercolor Edging number 2. So Watercolor Edging number 2, that's the brush we're going to use, and it has no settings on it. And then I'm going to stamp right about here in pink. It doesn't matter where I stamp, just going to stamp some pink. And next, I'm going to conceal part of this stamp using a mask. So we're going to add a basic mask to it. Click on the Create New Mask, add it to this particular stamp. And then let's return back to the brush tool and let's grab ourselves some line art. Now she has some really cool line art, and one of them happens to be, it's a bird. I don't know what else to call it, but it is a little bird. Let's see if I can pick it out. Is it that one? Nope, it's Cuckoo Clock. There's the bird's face. I can see the bird's face. I just need the bird. There she is. So it's NRJ Paris Spring number 19. Looks like that. And we're going to increase the size of this. Because we're doing a relief, it's going to be okay. Typically, you don't want to increase the size of your brushes too much because they'll start to look pixelated. But we're not going too big, but we do want to fill a certain amount of this card. And I would say like right here, if I wanted to crop it asymmetrically so her tail is off to the side down here and her face is really kind of prominent but kind of cropped off, makes it a little cool. And so we don't have to worry about the color because we're going to colorize it using stamps. So black as your foreground color, white as the mask, and then we're just going to stamp right here. And that creates a relief on our stamp, and that's pretty cool, but we're not done yet. Next, we're going to go back to our brush tool, we're already in it, and we're going to grab another watercolor brush. So it could be the same one, it doesn't have to be, but I'm gonna choose another edging one because they look kind of similar. And then we're gonna change the back to our thumbnail of our stamp. So if you're on the thumbnail of the mask, come over and make sure you're on the stamp. Easiest way to tell is that you'll see these boxes around the thumbnail of the mask, and you'll also have black and white in the foreground. But when you come back over to your stamp, you should see your colors, and that's what you want to see. And then we're going to assign an alternate color. So let's go with yellow, no problem. And we'll put yellow right there. And then we're going to change the painting mode to multiply so that it's a tad bit darker when we go to stamp. Now you don't have to do this, but I think it's really cool that when you're using painting modes, they're going to blend into what you already have stamped. And right now we already have this pink stamp. So anytime I go to stamp now with multiply as my painting mode, it's going to appear darker with anything that's already blended on that particular layer. So right now what you see is this pink. So when I go to stamp the yellow, any places, and let me zoom in here so you can see it, any places now that have that paint, it's going to appear a little bit darker. It's going to blend with it. And that's what makes the painting modes so ridiculously cool. Now they start to blend in with one another. And that's of grave importance when you're working with watercolors, where you're mixing the colors in on the same layer. The painting modes help it look realistic. Okay. Okay, let's add a third color. I'm going to do yellow one more time. I'm just going to change the rotation of it so it looks a little bit different, so I can get a little bit more of the face. And look at that. How cool did that just appear, right? Okay, let's go to blue. Let's change to a different edging brush. Let's go with that one. Oops, and you guys didn't know what that was. That was watercolor edging number 3. It was still in multiply, opacity still set at 100%, and we have blue from our swatch panel. And then what we're going to do is add a little bit more blue. So I'm going to just do it right over here. So it adds just a little bit of blue to this card here. And of course, since my bird is used as the mask, if you disable it, then she's going to show up in that relief. And right now I just have a really cool background kind of forming, but then when I add my mask in there, boom, nice cool relief. And then if you clip it to the card, here's what you got. And I could go back in there and fine tune it if I wanted to add a little bit more pink. Let's say if I wanted to go back to watercolor edging number 6, just to make it a little bit darker in there, and you see those areas that are starting to overlap, how nicely it comes together. And let's say, oh, you know, I want a little bit more yellow. There's some more yellow in there. Nice and dark coming in. And I would use a different brush. I'm using the same brushes, so they end up looking very similar. Change the angle. Add some yellow. Okay. And our little bird is coming in nicely. Here's the thing, and this is a bonus. You can invert the mask, right? Look at this. Go to your mask, use shortcut key Command-I or Control-I on the PC. You'll notice that the thumbnail will change. Boom, invert it. And look, you have this beautiful looking bird, peacock, whatever we want to call her. And now she has the relief, but in the negative, so that you can see it on her. Well, I would say that this, the other way, is the negative. So that would be more of the negative, and this is more of the positive. But isn't that cool? Watercolor resist. We're using painting modes to do it. Multiply to make all of these colors really sing and mix in together. We haven't messed with our opacity this time. We haven't messed with any brush settings. All we've done is change the rotation, add some different colors, added a mask, and there you go.